Hello, Patriot. You are not alone. The Las Vegas Strip, October 3rd. The sleeping giant is again awakened by people in his own home.
They are trying to convince you that you are divided. They are trying to convince you that we are separate. I don't see different races or genders out here. You know what I see? Free, loving Americans. Are you gonna do what it takes? Will you fight? And let's have your freedom of choice.
They want us to live in isolation. They want us to live in fear, but tonight we say no. Now God commanded his people, do not fear. If that is a command, that means fear can be overcome by sheer will alone. And the fact that all of you are here today means that their weapon of fear has no influence over any of you. Now tonight, when this protest is over, when we go back home to our day-to-day, the fight still continues. Because this is a war of information, this is a war of ideals, this is a battle for the hearts and minds of this nation, and all of you are fighters. So when you go out to your day-to-day, remember, share your information, share your knowledge, share your conviction. Every heart you set free, every mind you open, every soul that realizes it is free, that makes our numbers greater, it makes our strength greater, and it puts them into hiding. This is how we turn the weapon of fear against them. This is how we make them fear us, and this is how we win. Now, this nation was founded as one nation under God. As long as you know that your rights, they come from God, not from man, not from bureaucrats, not from the global elites, but from God alone, that means you are free and they can never rule over you. So, do we say in God we trust? Do we say God bless America? So tonight we are going to give glory to God. On the count of three, we're going to look up to heaven. We're going to say glory to God. We're going to make the angels sing, and we will make the demons tremble. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Where there is the freedom of the Lord, there is liberty.
What's up, you guys? What is up? So check this out. That video that you guys just saw, it is happening again tomorrow night in Las Vegas, and yours truly is going down there. I made the decision today. I'm going, and because it was a last-minute decision, it was a very expensive ticket just from here to Las Vegas. So please, you guys, go to the website. Do whatever you can. I mean, if there should be at least 100 of you guys, $5 each, whatever, something just to help, because the airfare was a lot, because it was last minute, hotel was a lot, and then I'm right back here, back home, come Saturday morning. So in case you don't know what it is, let me show you the preview for tomorrow, what it is happening down in Vegas. Yeah, you guys just saw the video. That was from October 3rd. So they used some of the clips from October 3rd to talk about tomorrow. So here it is. Portland, learn something. Get learnt. Get learnt, Portland. And you know what? And I spoke to the one of the organizers down there, and he seriously told me that there's people from Portland flying down there. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, so people from Portland, which is great. It's cool because, I mean, hey, if we can go places, if Vegas can come up here, and maybe whoever's organizing this, the people who are organizing this event in Vegas for probably the third time, if they could come bringing their stuff up here, that'd be great, because for whatever reason, Portland just can't stand. I mean, there's no pushback for nothing. We have no pushback. We don't want to do nothing. I mean, Portland seriously really just complies. That's what we do here. We comply. We say yes, massa, you know, and we do what they say. We do what we follow the tyranny. There's no pushback, like, at all. So it's like I have to go to where folks are truly going to stand up, where they're going to battle at, where they're not going to be pushed around, where they're not going to comply, where they're going to say that, yo, it's really we the people. And so there's going to be thousands of people there. So I am going to go down there and live stream. Regarding YouTube, since I cannot stream yet on the BC Preacher on YouTube, not live stream, at least out in the field, I can't do that yet. Not till I meet the 4,000 hours watched. We already got the subscribers. Thank you very much for those of you who are new to the Black Conservative Preacher or new to the BC Preacher YouTube page here. Thank you guys very much. And we got enough subscribers. The next hurdle is 4,000 hours watched. I think we're right about maybe 2,000. I could try to ask the wifey where we're at, see if I can find that out while we're on the show this evening. But so I will only be able to live stream on the Black Conservative Preacher, which I can do that right now because I actually thought I had 2 strikes and there's only 1. So I can live stream on there. I am open. I'm free to do that. So it will be on that. It will be on Twitch and, of course, Facebook. And then what I will do, more than likely, I will delete it from the Black Conservative Preacher page and upload it to Rumble, which is at the BC Preacher, along with Twitter at the BC Preacher, along with Instagram at the BC Preacher, along with Telegram at the BC Preacher, and, of course, everything else. So tomorrow night, you guys, Las Vegas, 6 p.m. I'll probably start a little bit early. Going to get out there. It's going to be I hit the ground and straight to the meeting spot, which is Aria Hotel down in Las Vegas on the Strip. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. So I mean, yeah, in order for me to live stream on the BC Preacher YouTube page, like I said, 4,000 hours watched. So I mean, if everybody from Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, go pick a video, go make a playlist, let your phone just play overnight. So speaking of the background and speaking of you guys and the blessings you guys give, thank you, Witchy12, for this awesome background. My new green screen. It's crazy. It's awesome. It's crazy. And this is just like the beginning of what we're going to do. I mean, you've seen my wife during the day with the whole little stuff going down at the bottom. She's learning, figuring all this stuff out for me while I'm at work, running around, walking out in the rain, walking miles, painting on the ground and stuff like that. She's been here doing awesome jobs. So we finally got this blessing up that Witchy12 blessed us with about, man, it must have been month and a half ago that she sent this. And so thank you very, very much, because it looks much better than, you know, a white wall behind us, you know, and the little things that we had up. So, all right. So first, the trial's been going on. My wife has been covering it. Today was a joke. I mean, every day's been a joke, honestly, because the prosecutors, in my personal opinion, they are just giving it away to Kyle. Like, straight up, they're giving it away to Kyle. But one thing that stood out to me was yesterday. And I'm going to play it in case some of you guys didn't see it. I know many of you probably did see it. But the judge, I mean, this judge here, he's a great judge. Like, he's sharp. He's on it. I like him. I like him a lot, the judge. So yesterday, they're doing their little sidebars and all that type of stuff. And the prosecutor's showing some footage. And in the footage, it was a live streamer. And this live streamer says in the footage something about militia. So, I object, so on and so forth. I mean, I want to play it out anyway. But the the thing is, the judge, out of all examples, out of all explanations, this judge gives the opportunity to preach the gospel message in a way without preaching, and in a way without talking about, the blood of Jesus Christ and XYZ. He uses Paul. He uses the scriptures to give an example in the courtroom where there's media, where this stuff is being fed out to the nation. And I'm like, okay, I like this dude. Like, he had the courage, he had the balls to do that. So right then I knew where he was at. In my opinion, I kind of like knew where he was at. I'm like, okay, this is great. Because like I said, what judge uses something from the scriptures, the Holy Bible, God's word, and uses that where in fact, and here's the thing, because most judges, what they'll do is that they'll use other cases in the past that's more modern, more, I'm not going to say relevant, but more modern. Here he used the Holy Bible, scriptures, right? Where liberals and people are saying, well, the Bible don't exist. Possibly even the prosecutor. But yet he used the Bible as an example. And if he's using the Bible as example in the court, he's obviously saying and believing that the Bible is true, that it's a true, if you want to say story or true history or whatever you want to say. He's saying that the case back then, which you guys will hear in just a moment, is basically a fact. It's a true story. So the left is trying to debunk it all the time, but this judge stands up here and gives this example of Paul and the case that he had to go through. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So I'm going to play this for you guys just for a second. It's probably more than a second. And then, as I told you guys, which I did not do it, so I apologize. I told you guys I was going to get this video up of Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs-n-Harmony talking about the prison and the music industry. So I'm going to play that with you guys tonight. It's a little bit. So we're going to be on for a minute. I wish we could do super chats on here, but it's not designed to do super chats. Not yet. Not till those hours are met. But I'll be trying to pay attention to you guys while showing that video and talking to you guys as well. So, but first, let's do this. Let's do this here.
The first video that I'm going to show is on our... Oh, I hit the button, I apologize. This is a video which is on our list as exhibit number 18.
This witness was a detective or a police officer, I believe a police officer.
Rundown Live. So if we could begin this, begin playing this at the very start, please.
And this was yesterday, by the way, yesterday.
Kristan T. here is here at the Rundown Live, and I'm here with a bunch of militia. They're protecting a local car shop across the street. I saw yesterday as this one, there's video of it on YouTube, of this one burn. And we had that fire and people were hitting it with bats and a whole bunch of other things.
I have an objection to this audio being played and the editorialization. I don't have a problem with the video being played.
I think we've agreed to the authenticity of it. I think that the individual who recorded this is available to be subpoenaed if necessary.
Well,
I don't think it's...
there's a rule of confrontation.
May we approach, Your Honor? I don't want to continue this to the jury.
Well, start there. Start from that position and we'll see. This is a confrontation issue.
He don't know what to say. Cat got his tongue.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. It's
No, because it's be something that has to be a record, and I'll have to send the jury.
It's
on
not, I don't believe it's a confrontation issue, Your Honor, because we're going to be here, we've already heard audio from other witnesses, and we're going to hear more.
There was not an objection. I can tell you.
Look at the free people back there. No mask.
If there's descriptive
1, 2,
material,
3, 4.
then he's entitled to confront the speaker.
There's not descriptive material of the defendant, Your Honor. This is not a confrontation issue.
You've heard it before?
Yeah, I've seen it in its editorialization.
He's already made statements, assertions of fact.
He just made one.
He did.
Yes, he did. You guys heard that, right? Militia?
Okay, we can play it without the
Rebecca.
audio. There will be times in which we will have audio of interactions with the defendant, where he makes statements.
Defendant's statements are invisible.
All right, I'll do my best to alert you when those occur. So let's play without sound for now.
When I studied evidence
Here it goes.
last century, the evidence textbook, which was probably about this thick, about a quarter of it was dealt with the hearsay rule. You hear the word hearsay all the time, and the section on the hearsay rule began, there is nothing murkier in the law of evidence than the hearsay rule. And I can tell you from 50 years of experience that that is accurate. It is a rule that has many, many exclusions, and it has many, many exceptions. So some things that may seem to the untrained ear to be hearsay are not, and some things that don't seem like it are.
Is he talking about heresy? He said heresy. Is he talking about heresy? I'm just curious. I mean, I heard him say that. I'm like, is he meaning heresy? He could be.
Basically, the rule is that a statement of a non-testifying person cannot be offered to prove the truth of the matter which is asserted in the statement. The rule, this is something we actually referred to on the first day when I talked about what's introduced in evidence has to be under oath. It has to be subject to cross-examination. And that's not true of statements that are made by somebody who's not here
hearsay.
while testifying as a witness.
I got you guys.
He's not here on the stand, he's not under oath, and he's not subject to cross-examination. So this person who's describing this is carrying on a discussion that you or I might have if it didn't require the strict rules that we have in the courts, perfectly, ordinary conversation. But when it gets into court, and this is actually referred to in the Bible, St. Paul, when he was put on trial,
St. Paul.
I think it's Caesarea. Well, it was over in Palestine, in Israel. He was accused of some activity, and he was a Roman citizen, which was not common, but he happened to have been a Roman citizen, and so he has rights that we share now as Americans. And when they tried to put him on trial with evidence which was being repeated by somebody who wasn't there and under oath, he said, "Where are the witnesses against me? I am a Roman, and I have a right to confront my accusers. They should be here." And so that led to actually his voyage to Rome to have his case heard before the emperor.
He knows his Bible.
So it's an ancient rule.
He knows the
It's
Bible.
strictly enforced in the criminal courts for very obvious reasons. So that's what we're talking about here. And so if the person who's making this descriptive material is here and can be put under oath and cross-examined, then it's admissible. But otherwise, it is not admissible through the officer here. You can play the video. And now, one of the exclusions from the operation of the rule, there was reference here to there were apparently statements, the state claims were made by the accused. There's an exclusion. That is not hearsay. A statement made by a party opponent is not hearsay. So he's entitled, the district attorney is entitled to have the sound up during those if they are statements of the defendant himself. So, go ahead.
We'll continue the video without sound. There will be a moment in which, shortly, where we'll turn the sound back on. For now, we'll just play without sound.
Yeah, we do need more like him. Linda on Facebook, yes, we do need more judges like him. So the point of that is because here we have this thing where people talk about we need a separation of church and state. This judge might come under fire, but I think he's built for it. I think he's equipped for it if it so happens. I don't know if it will happen or not, but for him to be, what is he, a state judge, city judge? He's a big-time judge because even later on, I think he referred to a case that he did 20 years ago that the Supreme Court came back and scolded him on and told him some things or whatever. So he's been around for a minute. So for him to bring up the fact, the Bible, and then he goes into even a little bit more deeper stuff because he said something along the lines, that's where Paul started his voyage. So I'm like, okay, dude knows the word. He knows his Bible. He knows the Bible. But we're supposed to, are judges supposed to actually do that in the courtroom? I'm all for it. I'm like, great, you use the Bible to prove to them that book, that Bible, that God's word is true and not a lie, not as the left likes to say, oh, you're fairy tale God. Prove to the left that Bible, that word was true, and the facts that are in that Bible, the facts that are wrote in that Bible by the hand of God, prove to the left that it's true because, like he said, we're still standing on that. There's things that are still used from the scriptures that they use today. So I don't know. Yeah. And, you know, in regards to like the whole case that's taking place, I mean, even today, I think they had, you know, people were like wondering about, I think they had somebody up there, either works for Tucker Carlson or knows Tucker or whatever. And he was following Kyle around. The prosecutor was trying to get him to say things that he just didn't want to say. But there was one thing that I heard him say quite often, and he was talking about standing around a group of people and they had rocks. Like this dude had rocks or bricks in his hand, and he talked about being more afraid. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he talked about that he was afraid and had more concerns on other nights leading up to that night. And I don't know if the prosecutor caught that or not, but it was foretelling that almost like he didn't want to say, I don't know if he didn't want to say more. I mean, I think he is with Tucker Carlson, so it might be one of those things like, hey, bro, be careful what you say or you're out of here. It could, I don't know, it could be. Maybe not. So, I don't know. It's been an interesting case. It's been good. I mean, like I said, yeah, Richie, that's who it is, juror on Twitch. Yep. They're completely giving it to Kyle. But here's the thing, and I've heard this quite often, and this could be another truth to it, another piece of it. It's hard to be a prosecutor to back up somebody who's deceased. I mean, like, think, that's one of the, well, I'm not gonna say that, but because that person isn't there. I mean, the person's not there to tell their story to their attorney or anything. So it's just this attorney grabbing at pieces to make a story to sell to people based off this deceased person. You know, I just heard it's kind of harder, it's more difficult, and it's more in favor for the person who ended up sorry, I'm looking at something that ended up shooting a person. Hold on just a moment. Okay. Will and the guys was asking me to do something. I'm like, I'm on right now. See, my boys don't even watch me. They don't even watch me. Will, like, I'm like, yo, I'm on right now. They're texting me and say, yo, can you do this right now? I'm like, I'm on right now. No, it's all good though. They didn't know. He just got done with the show, and we're having to deal with some business and stuff like that. So, all right. So I told you guys the other night I wanted to show you this stuff about Crazy Bone. Now, if you don't know who Crazy Bone is, Crazy Bone was in this group, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Bone Thugs and Harmony, they were founded by Eazy-E. So a lot of you may not be big hip hop people, which is fine, because that's not the point of why I want to show you this. Crazy Bone, one of the members in Bone Thugs and Harmony, he's been in the music industry since 1997, if not before. At least that's when their more groundbreaking music was around 90, 95, 96, 7, somewhere around there. So I just found this video the other day of him speaking about the music industry, the darkness, the corruption, as well as prison, and how the two of them are tied together. And when I say music industry, I'm speaking more along the lines of hip hop music that's catered toward, majority black people, at least at one point, and it's obviously has spread into more of a mainstream thing now. But after listening to this, I understand why it's now more mainstream, and they've done switched the tactics to target everybody instead of just a particular group. And how they're targeting things now is through sexual exploitation, sexualizing women, girls, showing young men, and the whole sodomite thing. That's how they're doing it now compared to how they originally started with the hip hop culture and movement. So it's just a different thing now. And when you listen to him talk through this, I'm not saying that he's conservative or Republican or anything like that, but it does sound like it's the Democratic Party that he's speaking of. So it's very inciting. Bear with it. Like I said, probably about a half hour. Just to be honest with you guys, just going to let you know. But it's well worth the listen. The dude who's co-hosting it with him, kind of annoying. I'm not going to lie. He's kind of annoying. So I want to show you that. But again, if you're just tuning in real quick before I get to that, I want to show you where I'm going to be at tomorrow night. And like I was saying earlier at the beginning of the show, it was a last-minute decision. Cost quite a bit when you do like only within less than 12-hour type of airfare and hotel. So please, if you guys can, go to onamericanstreets.com/donate to contribute with this. It's going to be well worth it, well worth the investment. I will be live streaming at this thing tomorrow evening in Las Vegas. So let me show you what this is real quick, and then we'll get on with the Crazy Bone thing. tomorrow night, Las Vegas, 6 p.m. in front of the area hotel. We'll be there. I'll be live streaming. So it's going to be good. Going to be a big old, thousands of people are going to be down there in Las Vegas on the Strip. Last month they actually went into some of the hotels, so that's going to be super tight to walk through the hotels with the American flags and banners and everything. I think last time there was some arrest possibly that happened. So we shall see tomorrow night, Las Vegas, you guys, Las Vegas. So, all right. Let's get on with the Crazy Bone thing. I'm going to, just for a moment, so I can see what's going on with these guys, I'll probably step away. Actually, I'll start off with you guys. I'm going to start off. But you got to check this stuff out, honestly. Here we go.
Podcast, Truth Talks. I am your host, Crazy Bone.
What's happening with it, man? I'm the Bum Keith G.
Speaking about the music business in a good light tonight, because there's nothing good about these things that we're about to reveal to you this evening.
Oh, that's real, man.
And I also want to make it clear, that we are not trying to discourage any aspiring artists at all.
Nah.
That's not our intention. Our intention is simply to wake up the minds and open the eyes of everybody that may be aspiring to make it in this business, and just to give them a forewarning of some of the evil things that has been going on within the music scene and behind the music scene as well. So getting right down to the issue at hand, I just want to say to all my fellow hip-hop artists and hip-hop fans that we have been had again.
Damn.
We've been bamboozled.
Hoodwinked.
Let us stay, I tell you.
all the Malcolm X words.
Once again, you know what I'm saying? Now, a few of y'all might have already heard about this, about how the music industry has very close ties with the private prison system.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because the music business has invested millions of dollars in the private prison system.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You heard it correctly. Again, the music business and the entertainment business in general, meaning people who control the media, the music industry, and also
publication,
private prisons.
Yeah, magazines, all that.
Have you guys heard about that? Do you guys even know that? I'm sure some of you do, but do you guys know that? Did you know that there's this big tie between the prison industry and the music industry? I didn't know that until, once I started listening to this, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. But I didn't know the close ties that's there. And this is real eye-opening, and it will completely make sense to you guys as it goes. You guys are going to be like, what in the world? Trust me, this is good.
Somebody sent me an article, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago.
Right.
And I read.
Thank you, Barb, on
article,
Facebook.
Bro, and I was absolutely shocked, very shocked.
Talk to us.
In fact, I want to read this letter. This article, but it's actually a letter that was written by somebody that was a decision maker at a major label.
Shot caller.
And he said, he was invited to a very special meeting about the future of hip hop back in 1991.
Okay.
So here's what he said. This is how the events went down at the meeting.
Way out article too, man. You know what I'm saying? When he told me on telephone about this, wait till y'all hear this, G. You know what I'm saying? It's mesmerizing how these people do, you know what I'm saying, the plans that they got for how far they will go, you know what I'm saying, to make people, actually slip in society, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so it says, and the title of the letter is The Secret Meeting That Changed Rap Music and Destroyed a Generation.
Damn.
So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for.
Damn.
Hold on, let me
So we gonna tell the story.
We gonna tell the story. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not just playing.
Look, that black van.
So look, so he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that, like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted.
Right.
This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction.
Yeah. Little
did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Crazy.
So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there.
Right.
Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip-hop.
Talk to them.
Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign the confidentiality agreement, preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but could not find anyone who had the answers for us.
Can you guys believe this?
A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me.
That's right.
A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected all the agreements from us. So now it's going to get to the good part because the meeting about to start.
Here's the good part.
Jay.
It says, quickly after the meeting began, hold on one second.
Get your popcorn, y'all.
Popcorn, get your pistol. No,
for real though.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background.
This is crazy.
I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable in the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who received funding from the government based on the number of inmates.
Mm-hmm.
The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons.
Mm-hmm.
It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we'd also be able to buy stocks in these prisons.
Told you guys.
Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At
Excuse
this
the
point,
language.
Things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague who opened up the meeting earlier hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly or even those who attended the meeting.
Damn.
I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do. And, no, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word the last thing he said. It's out of my hands now. Just remember you signed an agreement. He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So this meeting, bro.
Now that's a
That's
lot for
crazy.
a meeting right there.
That is crazy.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and this person later on, he said, this person actually ended up leaving the music industry after this happened with a few.
And most people do. This isn't like the first time we've heard about the darkness of the music industry. I've shared a little bit with you guys, and I didn't even make it to these levels that Crazy Bone and you know, a lot of these music artists were in. I was just a local within the music industry, and I still saw the darkness and the depth of it. Okay, so I mean, think about these people who've actually made it. And they'll even drop some more names later about what happened to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so who was more positive. What happened to those people? How come they didn't make it? How come they didn't sustain and continue on in the music industry like other people who actually kind of conformed and obeyed the rule and played by their playbook? So it's really crazy how deep this actually gets.
Years after this, he ended up leaving the music industry.
Okay.
And he said he just, like, you know, over the years he just felt guilty because he said as he sat back and he watched these plans come to a reality
over 2 decades,
he sat back and was like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah.
They really pulled this off. He was like, they were told not to sign any more political rappers, any more rappers that had messages in their music.
No positivity.
It was all to be gangster rap music that they promoted and put out.
So if you wonder where Brand Nubians went, where Pro Righteous Teachers went, where Public Enemy went, where KRS-One went, and all sorts of groups like that was talking, even Queen Latifah and Moni Love and those, you know what I'm saying? It's a back door.
Yeah, anything that was harmless, fun rap, you know, anything that had a message in it had to go.
Yeah, that's why if you
see, so that explains a lot why there's one-hit wonders or music that was made for fun. Because at one point, hip-hop was fun. I mean, in Crazy Bone, we'll talk about it later, and I know about the hip-hop and the elements of hip-hop, and because there's 4, and then you can extend it to 8 different elements of hip-hop, and they actually crushed hip-hop. And just like with the whole NWA, that the NWA was created by a Jewish man. It was created. It wasn't like the NWA. It wasn't like that they were some like seriously straight up gangster group back then. They were actually created to do what they were do and told in meetings, this is how we want your image to be and act like. It wasn't like what people think or what they portrayed out there. That NWA was created as a weapon to sell, just like what he's talking about. So this stuff was already happening in the 80s, right? It was already happening in the mid to late 80s. And then along came, I guess, this meeting or whatever. So it's interesting.
Even notice, though,
we talk about that all the time.
Even be brief with it, you know what I'm saying? Those charms that came out like maybe in 1988, 89, the African charms, those they lasted for about 2 years and they disappeared real quick, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Now, after reading all this, you know, it actually made me feel a few different ways. The first emotion I felt was shocked, because I was definitely taken back by this, just knowing the level of evil that's involved by even thinking of a plan like this. You know what I'm saying? The second emotion I felt was anger. Anger because it's not enough for them to exploit our culture and make all the money off of it. Mm-hmm. Because let's keep it real, the industry has never been favorable towards the artists. Never. But they're going to go beyond the artists to get the artist to influence and lure in the consumer, which they knew at the time were mainly minorities.
Yep.
In other words, keep promoting gangster rap so that the youngsters will be influenced by them, which in turn will incite them to want to act like them, and it's a very good chance they'll end up in their prison.
Yeah.
So they're getting paid twice. They're getting paid from the artists they signing, and then they're getting paid from the people that these artists influence that goes to prison trying to be like these artists.
Yeah.
So they making a killing.
A killing.
They're using the music business to promote their private prison business.
My man is right there talking that right. 1988, a man named Tom Beasley, man. That's the co-founder of the corrections for Corporation of America. That's the CCA. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French. I'm reading this thing right there real quick. It's the CCA. So in 1988, he founded that, and this is in straight concert with the same thing. So it's like the music business. You do what you do on your side. And over here with the corrections facilities, we're going to do on this side and now in 1970, there was 500 prisons. You know what I'm saying? Only 500 prisons in the United States. To this day, there's 1,700 prisons right now. That means big business. I'm talking about that done flippled over. You know what I'm saying? If flippled over is a word. No. Because they're making a lot of money off of these things per inmate. You know what I'm saying? So getting with the same thing of the music, it all went hand in hand, and we just partying at the same time.
So us as the artists is the tool they use.
Yeah.
The music is the bait.
Yep.
And the young consumers are the prey. It's a cold game.
Cold game, bro.
Cold game. Then I felt sad. Sad because everything we seem to try to create, we always seem to give it away. We're always being tricked and deceived into believing that they have our best interests at hand when clearly they never have and they never will. They never will have our best interests at hand. It's blow after blow after blow after blow. And they can't even get up.
Yeah.
They always find some kind of way to scheme, take, and just make sure we stay in our prospective places.
Even look how they flip it even right now. Like right now what we saying to a young dude that's a young rapper, the way it's set up, it would look for him to hate us because it's like, what you trying to stop my business for of making the money? You know what I'm saying? An underprivileged dude that never had nothing, and he trying to get some snaps, but he just doing this thing off of ignorance, and they know that. So it's dudes like us that be trying to say something like this, and they'll have the rapper dude looking at us like we the fool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to rain on his parade when we ain't trying to do nothing like that. We trying to tell y'all, look here, they making $1.7 billion a year on this private prison system. Out of the 2.2 million people that's incarcerated, you know what I'm saying, in the United States, and by the way, United States got more people incarcerated than anybody in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 2.2 million, 20%, you know what I'm saying, that's us here. They got us caged up.
Man, some of these things we've known just by being eyewitnesses, you know, from the decline, like we just talking about, from the decline of politically conscious rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or anything positive just don't sell these days, and they're the reason. It's not because the music is not good or these artists done got too old or they done all of a sudden forgot how to rap.
Yeah.
You know, it's because they want to push their agenda again. You know what I'm saying? It goes back to that agenda. They want to push their agenda. We mention it all the time. And the reason they're trying to keep it a young man's game, as they say, is because they want to manipulate the young artists.
Right.
Give them money, keep them quiet. Whereas the older generation, you know, we used to be like that, but the difference is we've grown up. We've gotten wise.
Yep.
We've studied, you know what I'm saying? And we're not going for that old bullshit y'all used to tell us, you know what I'm saying? You know, and we not thinking young like how we used to think, you know, like Notorious and just belling without a purpose. No, we stopping and we thinking now. But see, that's a problem because that doesn't sell. So you're now officially washed up, but not really, but in their eyes you are because you're not pushing their agenda.
Exactly, bro.
That's exactly what it is, you know. Bro, I know plenty rappers from my era. And even some before me that can still hang with a lot of these rappers out today. Facts.
Yeah, for sure.
Facts. And in my opinion, probably they may be a little bit more creative because they'll have a message in their music and they'll still make you rock with them.
And a hell of a delivery here.
Facts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but to promote these prisons, you got to have to promote anything. You got to have a commercial. The man Tom Beasley, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of the Corporation for Prison Systems for America, you know what I'm saying. This is what he said. He said they asked him, how you gonna promote this? How you gonna commercialize the prison system? He said you do it like you do anything else, like you do real estate. You promote that like you do a hamburger franchise. You promote that like how you do a car corporation, anything like that. So that's just what the business did. Are we saying the people that go to prison don't deserve to go to prison if they did a crime? We're not saying that. What we're saying is when you start a business, now you're starting to look for customers. That's a whole other thing.
You're looking for customers, and it's basically you're setting the system up so that they fail to be automatic customers.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a trick bag that we never get out of.
What's that rate?
And it wasn't designed for us to get out of it.
What's that rate, Craig Jack? Tell them that rate that they said they got to have it's in the contract for them too for the private prison system.
90. They have to have 90%. We gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Now this is just another example to show that the powers that be are very, very far along in advance with their agenda. To the point to where it's completely out of our hands. I hate to say it, y'all, but we blew it. Once again, we blew it. We gave up our culture only to have it flipped around and used on us as a weapon to destroy our communities and influence the young minds of our young generation in a negative way.
Yeah.
We were so blind that we didn't even know it. They tricked us with the money and gave us all this stuff, and you know, a lot of people, you know, forgot about the struggle. But honestly, keeping it 100 though, because I know I just said, you know, they flipped it on us, but honestly, keeping it 100, you know, I heard, you know, like we wasn't the ones that glamorized the street life or selling drugs. We simply told our story, painting a picture of our struggles and where we came from and what we had to do just to be where we are today. The media glamorized it. They glamorized it. We were simply telling stories of struggle, where we came from, and they turned it around and flipped it on us. That's how it all came about.
Yeah.
Real talk.
No, that is really though.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, and I heard one of the youngsters out here, I think is it Joyner Lucas? I think that's his name. And he was saying that he blamed the generation.
I seen that.
He blames the generation for you know, like talking about drugs and like, you know, like glorifying it.
Yeah.
But like I just said, bro, we use this hip hop was something totally different when it first started, and this is why you youngsters need to educate yourself on what hip hop was. This is why. Because we didn't glamorize a damn thing. This was our craft. This was our culture. We was telling our story. They saw was money in it. They took it and they pimped it out.
Right.
They glamorized it. We were simply, like I said, telling our story. This is stuff we live.
Okay, so he's saying this is stuff we live. So if you guys, if being honest, if people actually went back and listened to like some of the early days of hip hop. Okay, look, everybody knows Sugar Hill Gang, so let's just use that for example. Sugar Hill Gang, a hip, a hop, a hippity, you know, all that. Then there was a song called "Broken Glass Everywhere." People standing on the corners like they just don't care. So what he's saying is that it was stories back then. They hijacked it, formulated it, and said, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to sell it. And here you are, poor little black kid from the ghetto. You don't have nothing. Here's $100,000. And guess what the little poor black kid does and his family who are living in poverty, who don't really have much? Guess what they do? Yes, master. Yes, indeed. We'll do it. Then they're owned. Then it just gets deeper and deeper. Do this. This is how we want you to dress. This is how we want you to talk. This is how we want you to look. Oh, well, here, we'll get this car for you. We get your mama a house for you. Yes, yes, yes. So they hijacked the whole movement, the whole thing of what hip-hop was, and turned it into their thing. That's why if you paid attention, if people knew about hip-hop in the culture, part of hip-hop in the culture back in the 70s and early 80s was like Run DMC. They were from Queens. It was all about, it was fashion, how people dressed. It was dance. It was artwork, and I'm talking about graffiti, like artwork graffiti, not tagging, not a bunch of just scribble writing, but actual artwork. They either called it their piece or their bombs. So it was dress. It was artwork. It was b-boying, breakdancing. They called it b-boy because it meant break boy, break to the beat of the music. So break boy or break girl, b-boy or b-girl, and there was rhyming, rapping. So and DJing, because the DJ is the one who provided the break for the boy or the girl. Break boy, b-boy. That came from the DJ, rapping, graffiti. So all that, and they stripped it away. That's why breaking went underground for a long time, because break dancing back then, they started to make it a commercialized thing. Back around 82, 84, they tried to make break dancing a commercialized thing, and the real B-boys that were from the Bronx, they did not want it to be commercialized. And so when they started to make it commercialized, they're like, nope, you're not going to take this from us and do what you're trying to do with the music industry, the hip hop, the rappers. And breakdancing went away for years and years, all underground. And it started kind of coming back to the scene like, big time on the scene on a national thing, probably around 2000. But it was all underground before 2000, and it started making its way now, popular, and now you see dancers and commercials again and stuff like that. But you won't see the B-boys. But now B-boy actually is now part of the Olympics. Coming up, you'll see the B-boy. B-boys will be a part of the Summer Olympics coming up, I think, in the next major Summer Olympics. B-boying actually made it into the Summer Olympics as a sport going forward. And that is a truth. You guys can Google that and find out for yourself. So going forward, B-boying actually will be in the Summer Olympics. But it's true. What Crazy's talking about here regarding what they did, how they stole it, how they turned it into a business and commercialized it, and they've done that. They're doing it. I mean, if we look around and see what the music industry is doing to our youth and to children, it's no different than what they did with the rap music. No different. It's no different because they use these people for their agenda. These people are the stars. People, kids, a neighborhood, or whoever will listen to these people because, wow, look at them. They're in a position of power. Look at their music. So this is crazy. Let me go back into it.
They took our lives. They took our lives and made it, it made it seem like to the kids, oh, this is something lovely. Maybe you want to try this.
Yeah.
When we said in a lot of our songs, this ain't what you want to do. Don't be like us. Be better than it. We doing it, telling y'all this, so maybe you can skip this part and try another way.
Yeah, and not even to denote the cat that tried to say, that he blamed the rapper. You know what I'm saying? He on the right trail, but you can't blame the puppet, bro. You got to blame the puppeteer. See, a puppet can't move without no strings if you ever seen a puppet show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I ain't trying to be funny about nothing like that, but that's just pretty much how this game goes. The puppet cannot move. It's just an empty doll right there until somebody puts up and pulls those strings. So you kind of on the right trail. You just blaming the wrong party about this. Are the MCs doing it? Yeah. That's why they hand select these dudes at 19 and 18 and 17 and 16. It's getting lower and lower. Because you know what? When you get somebody that never had no money before and you offer them a platform to be doing what they doing, and what they doing right now is a bunch of ignorance. But they don't know that because a lot of cats ain't got no mothers and no fathers. You know what I'm saying? At the same time. If they got a mother, they ain't got no daddy. If they even got that. So you got these dudes who all of a sudden got a large amount of wealth and they basking in ignorance because it's all they know. And I choose to say ignorance, not stupid, because ignorant means you just ain't hip to something. You know what I'm saying? You just ain't wise to the things that's going on around you. So young cats, like my man said earlier, we ain't trying to bash nobody. We ain't upset because young dudes at 16 and 15 is jumping out of Rolls Royces or whatever. I hope for that. I want you to be flourish and have your family and stuff like that. But look at the cost it is costing us. You might not know that, but that's why this show Truth Talk is going on right now.
Check it out. Corrections Corporations of America.
Yeah.
Which is known as the CCA, which is the biggest name in the private prison industry.
Yep.
They contacted 48 states and offered to buy their prisons. However, the stipulations of the deal stated that before the deal was made,
here it go.
They had to ensure that the state that they would be able to maintain a 90% prison capacity a year. Meaning they had to guarantee the state that they would be able to keep the prisons full at all times. And who would be the main candidates to be put in there? You already know. Blacks, which are the majority, and Latinos. Now, after this deal was made, 2 months later, an anonymous email was sent out to various but a selective few members of the music and publishing industries that gave an account of a secret meeting that took place where it was determined that hip-hop would be manipulated to drive up privatized prison profits.
Damn.
That's the letter we just read. That's the letter that we just read when, what I'm saying, that's the same thing we just read. So we already know that 90% of, we already know that 90% of what we read, watch, and listen is controlled by only six main media companies.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke about this topic on our Weapons of Mass Destruction episode. So you ever notice how a lot of these new rap artists come out, and before anybody has really heard of them or their music, they're already famous, with millions of followers and all this expensive jewelry, and you like, yo, who the hell is this? Where they come from? It's because I'm a music connoisseur, so I'm usually up on all the hot music and artists all day long, young to old. Plus, we do the Craylist show. We play everything from younger to older. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of young cats is coming out of nowhere, and I'm like, yo, how did they gain such massive attention and notoriety this fast, but nobody has heard their music. You know what I'm saying? And that's when we have to remember that the powers that be, they control everything.
Oh, yeah.
They control the avenues necessary to manufacture any celebrity and create any trend at any time. Here goes some more facts.
Talk to him.
Time Warner, as the owner of Warner Brothers Records, among many other labels that he owned, can not only sign an artist to a recording contract, but as the owner also of Entertainment Weekly, can see to it that the artist gets the front cover next week. That's a hell of a plug.
Oh, smack dab right in the middle.
That's a hell of a plug. So
that means
And this is without any consideration of their music whatsoever. The artist will be an overnight star.
Yep.
So they're not signing these artists because they possess extreme talent. Not all of them. Some of them are talented.
Yeah.
But a lot of these artists, they're not signing them because they possess talent. They're signing a lot of these artists because they're great influencers of bullshit.
Yeah.
They're great influencers of bullshit. Excuse my language, but it's the truth. And they're running around blinded by all the diamonds and the money and the women. You know the life.
Yeah.
It's a cycle that just continues to seem to keep going and going and seem like it's never going to be broken.
You know what? In the coldest part, they tried to even hide their names and put it under an umbrella called the Vanguard Group Incorporated. You know what I'm saying? But just like my man already said with the Time Warner, they one of them, Sony and Universal. Those are the big three right there. And I'm not scared to say them, Sony, Universal, and Time Warner. Those are the ones who have the largest share in the prison system independently for the private prison system. And by the way, the private prison systems, they have out of 150 million inmates incarcerated throughout the U.S., now it's up to 2.2, they house 8% of that. So, you know what I'm saying, 8% of that, you know what I'm saying, that's what they're doing right now. So they're doing big business. Like I said, they're making $1.7 billion a year on the private prison system alone. And it's going to be gumming up soon. It's going to be getting up a little, the 8%, give it a couple of years, it's going to be at 20%. You know what I'm saying? Because the taxpayers, the initial plan that they had was saying, you know what, it's going to be easier on the taxpayers with the private prison system. Now, due to stats on it, the private prison system costs just as much to a taxpayer as it does to the state and the federal prisons.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So there is no, we did this for, it's a break on the citizens. They ain't thinking about no damn citizens, man. They thinking about that $1.7 billion a year, extra money. Plus, the last thing I'll say about this, and you know it ain't the last thing, we'll say where'd all the factories go and all the jobs in the United States go for all that? The United States don't make nothing or manufacture nothing no more. All the factories are closing down. Look in your rural areas, Nebraska to Ohio to even places out here in California. You know where everything's being made at? Engines and toys and cars and all that type of stuff. In the prison. So you can pay them a zero. Talk to them.
That baby, that stroller you pushing your baby in, was made in the prison. That crib she's sleeping in was made in the prison.
Engines for cars, man. Not just license. See, they got us stuck off those 1930s movies and all that where they was making license plates. They ain't just making no license plates. You know what I'm saying?
So, you know.
So, look, I did not even know that. I brought this up to my wife the other night because I was letting her hear some of this. And she's like, yeah, she's heard stuff like that. She's read things. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like we're thinking all overseas and stuff, which I'm not saying is not coming from, some things are not coming from overseas. But to also hear this, that a lot of these things, like things that we actually use, are being made in the prison. Well, I'm like, okay, it makes sense because they do labor in the prison. They work hard and hopefully to get their time reduced and things like that. So obviously they're doing stuff in the prison. It's not just they're just not off to the side of the road on the freeway. Look at Shawshank Redemption. Look at that movie. They were working in the prison. I'm not saying that all movies are like real, but there's elements in movies that have factual things. They were working in Shawshank Redemption. So I'm sure in prison there's going to be like some sort of work that you can do. And here they are exposing that also. So in case you guys are just tuning in or kind of late to the party, this is Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony. It was a rap group from the 90s, and they lasted for at least a good decade, if not a little bit more. And some of them broke off and had their own careers. And, so Crazy Bone here, he's been part of the music industry since probably early to mid-90s is when, groundbreaking for him and their group, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and just exposing the music industry, what they're doing, how they pimp out people, how they basically how it's owned. I would personally say by elites, people who are in charge, people who have much power, who can come to us average people and say, well, here's $20 million to basically sell yourself and do what we do, tell you to do. It's funny because, we talk about tyranny. Well, look at the music industry. Here's this. Here's what we will give you. Now you do this. You work for us. You do what we tell you to do. Sounds familiar, don't it? The Democrats? And that's what the music industry's been. And that's why they targeted, especially with hip-hop music, they targeted the black neighborhoods and black culture. I mean, it sounds like it goes right in hand with the 94 crime bill, don't it? All around that time of gangster music, gangster rap music, all right around that time. Let's target them.
Again, we're not discussing this topic, to deter anybody.
So check this out. Someone on Facebook, Sarah Neal on Facebook says, I used to work in the prison, and we had a prison industry shop, and the inmates there made minimum wage, but kitchen staff makes 25 cents. She must be talking about 25 cents an hour.
Although I know some of y'all sitting back like, damn, like really, like, yeah, like it's pretty much a trap everywhere we go. But here's the thing, you have to continue to live. You have to continue to push on.
Yeah.
You have to continue to live your life, and as long as you're not, crooked like these people is with these agendas, and you're just doing it to make an honest living, because I don't believe there's a corporation in the world that's big that's not corrupt. You could be working at McDonald's. You may not know the corrupt shit that's going on with the in the paperwork and stuff like that, but I'm sure they done stepped on a couple necks and did a little dirt to get where they want to be as well. So yeah.
Which McDonald's has, and if you guys don't know, there is a documentary out. Well, it's actually a documentary / movie about McDonald's and how it was founded. I think, who's in it? Is it Kevin Keaton? Oh, my goodness. Anyway, it was crooked. How McDonald's all happened and came about, it was very crooked, very shady stuff that happened. It's so shady, it almost makes you not even want to go get anything from crappy McDonald's. Not to say what was the movie? Huh? Michael Keaton. Yes, that's yes. It makes you not even want to go get anything from McDonald's after watching the movie, because it was just like what happened and how, like, McDonald's was like the In-N-Out. They were like faith-based dudes, Christian dudes, didn't want to be open on Sundays, and then this dude comes in who's partnered up with them, and just it's bad. It's bad. It was bad. So, I mean, he's right. Yes, the dude, Faith Wilson on Facebook says he screwed over the actual makers of McDonald's. Yes, he did. So, like Crazy Bone said here, that even in companies that we wouldn't think, there's crookedness going on. Yes.
Yeah, Ronald ain't got that perm for nothing.
But you can't. But that ain't to say you shouldn't go. Like all you youngsters, that ain't to say you need to go get a part-time job there, because they are crooked. You know what I'm saying? Everything we do, like we're in a system that was created crooked. Yeah. So we have to live within that system. As long as you're not letting that system rub off on you and like making you crooked, like they are, you have.
Celicia, the founder. That's the name of the movie. about McDonald's, The Founder. You guys go watch that movie. You guys will get pissed off. I guarantee it. The Founder. You guys will not believe it. It'll make your mouth drop. Like, what? It's called The Founder.
To maintain, because I know a lot of people going, because I know a lot of people going to say, oh, well, why are you still in the music business then? Like, nigga, because I'm not doing what these niggas do. Like,
I try to edit
my
that.
gift, and I'm using my gift for positivity, regardless to what they do. Just like God is allowing, the police and all these government officials to be in power for the time being. He doesn't condone them being crooked and all the injustice that's going on. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to be a part of that. You can just, make your living, do you, and just don't be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Because there are many artists, there are many artists out here that have nothing to do with this so-called Illuminati.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't sold they sold. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't, everybody ain't, everybody ain't crooked. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain individuals that have agendas and they're pushing them. But you can't ball up and just start living your life like a hermit and just, just stop going out and just stop doing things. You know what I'm saying? It's, if that was the case, I wouldn't be able to maintain in this music industry like I do. You know what I'm saying?
Really though.
Already knowing that we marching against the wind, rough winds, heavy winds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's pushing us back at every chance they get. But we got to keep moving forward. It's a must that we keep moving forward.
We got to, man.
And I'm not saying this to make people want to uprise and rebel and go marching and all that, because I think I told y'all before, to me, protesting and all that does nothing. They have their plan already in place. If y'all don't if y'all don't understand that this is part of Bible prophecy, it's going to happen regardless of what y'all do.
The wheels is in.
You can
in
run
order.
around. We shall overcome till you can't sing no more. What's going to happen is still going to take place because it's God's plan.
Yeah.
It may seem messed up now, but all these things have to happen for God to roll in His plan. They have to happen.
Yeah.
They have to. What you're witnessing has to take place. And it's not for us to go jump up in the middle and try to protest. Oh, this is wrong, because you won't win. You're not going to take the government down.
Yeah, this ain't no race.
It's not going to happen.
Ain't no race war.
Ain't no race war. It ain't nothing like that. Like my man say, it ain't that. And the things, all this do lead up to, saying when you trust in God, we talking about some ugly things. But you know what I'm saying? I told my man too. I told it to him because I'm reading a lot of the comments. Be careful. Y'all talking about things that a lot of people come up missing with and all that kind of stuff. And I said to my cat, I said, you know what? I would be worried if I didn't, know who God was through His Son Christ. You know what I'm saying? I would be nervous about these things, because this is some stuff that people don't want people to listen to. Yeah, they don't want nobody to talk about this. They want us to continue to talk about what's Cardi B doing. What's Love and Hip Hop doing? And nothing's wrong with those people in those shows, but they will want to twist us against those people like that. Not saying nothing's wrong with those things, but they want to keep us on what's going on over there, so that we can be ignorant and blind to what thus says the Lord. You know what I'm saying? When it's a simple kind of plan, So I'm not worried about my life or nothing like that. We have conversation about the black van. We be playing about that a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But it's still, I know that it's out there. Those are elements that want to destroy and come against, you know what I'm saying, especially young dudes like us telling this thing, because we could be up here talking about some of the silliest shit that you could ever want to hear. But those aren't the things we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, this is what it is, man.
Y'all need to, like we always tell you on every show, you just need to know, we just wanted to give you information about this, because I know some of y'all still want to pursue the music business. Like I said, do your thing. Just don't get caught up in all this, all this drama here, the whole, what they call it, the Illuminati thing.
Yeah.
Which is which always has been propaganda to me, you know what I'm saying? But, you never know, man. Like, when you read these things about the agenda and all these things, you can't put anything past. You can't put anything past the government, for the simple fact we know what they done to have America be the world power. We know. They ain't get there by passing our roses.
Sure ain't.
They ain't get there by passing our roses.
Saying excuse me.
Yeah, or saying excuse me. They got there by brutal, blunt force. Check it out, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all follow up on what we're telling y'all. There's a lot of, articles online about the whole. It's no secret.
It's not.
It's no secret. But I just wonder how come more of us don't know about this. Why? Because we've been blinded. We've been blinded. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, it's so simple. It's so simple and it's so clear what happened. We talk about it all the time. Give them money, they'll forget about the struggle. Oh, yeah. And ever since rappers have been making money, lots of money.
Lot of it.
The less you hear about the struggle.
Hey, the dope gonna sedate you too.
You know what I'm saying? The less you hear about the struggle, and we just want to, like, just make sure y'all understand this. Live your life at all means, but as long as you have this knowledge, you'll be prepared and know what you're walking into. You know what I'm saying? You have to be prepared. You have to know what you're dealing with. Now is even more of a time to make sure you know the business. Make sure you know the business. Don't just get into it because, they're looking for these. They're looking to keep our kids in the dark. Yep. Man, if you think about it, everything is set up like it's really aimed and set up at the kid, at the younger generation. Starting with school.
Yeah.
Starting with school. If you think about it, parents, from what? When do kids start school? Like 5 years old? From 5 to 18.
Something like that.
From 5 to 18, your children are in the hands of the government up until they're 18 because they're in school more than they're with you. By the time they come home from school and do their homework and you get home from work and everybody go to sleep, they're putting in more time with your kids than you are. So they're putting in all kinds of crazy messages about who discovered America and all this bullshit. They're putting all this into their heads because they're spending more time. They designed this to where they're spending more time with your kids than you are. So they can put their agenda in their head and your kids can come and question you from what you done taught them. Yeah, but Daddy, and my teacher said, I don't give a damn what your teacher says. This is what I'm telling you. Like real talk. That's how you got to get.
That's 8 hours a day, not even including detention.
Real talk.
You know what I'm saying? That they spend with your kid.
Yeah. Pretty heavy stuff. There's an awful lot of meat in that interview to take away, and a lot of things that I didn't know, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that even some of you guys didn't know. I didn't know. I knew a lot of it. I didn't know the details, the in and outs to the whole prison stuff. I didn't know just how deep. I didn't know the connection between prison and the music industry like that. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew how the whole music industry is, especially in regards to hip hop music, was hijacked and all that type of jazz. I knew that information because even in I do like the NWA movie that came out like 2 years ago, but that was my time of hip hop, when I was a little young buck and I was a break dancer, and I love the whole hip hop, the core, the real movement of hip hop. And when I watched NWA, because like them or not, they were gangster rap back then or whatnot. They were still, I guess you could say, a pioneer for that genre of music because they were one of the first groups that went as mainstream as they did. But now if you look at things, you understand why NWA, and we know what it stands for, why they went as mainstream as they did. I'm sure each one of those guys at this point in life, especially Ice Cube and Dr. Dre, I'm sure they're very happy for, if you want to say, sold your soul to the devil or went along with it, which I don't think they did because I think each one of them ended up bucking back against what was taking place and happening to them because they actually got screwed over too. Along their journey in the music industry, a lot of things happened to each one of them. Friendships were broken up. They had to come back later and apologize, all because of backdoor deals and shady stuff that was happening by the people at the top, by the elites, but at the end of the day, each one of them matured. They grew, and I mean, they're in great positions now of owning their own businesses and being entrepreneurs and being wise when it comes to their craft and their business. You know, not to say that I support them, but just to watch that type of stuff and see how it was formed and see how this man, this white dude who was, I guess, Jewish or whatever, you know, color he was. I mean, his complexion was white. Jewish guy comes in and tells him, yeah, we want it to be like this and do this. And then he's making them within their group switch and turn their backs on each other. And then, you know, he sets things up so that there's a bunch of women at parties for them and stuff like that, you know, because, hey, if we do this, this happens. Then there's drugs introduced and all sorts of things. So it was definitely was a good movie in regards to seeing how that was all formed. So the music, yeah, I mean, what Crazy Bone was saying in there, how deep it is and how they target people, that's definitely a liberal democratic thing, and they're still doing it now. They're still enslaving people. You know, think about Pac and who was the guy from Run DMC, and then, you know, Notorious Big. These people were all groundbreaking pioneers in that music industry, and Tupac was getting to a point where he was starting to expose and say things against the industry. Oh, we never found the killer. Really, you're on Las Vegas Boulevard where all these cameras are at, and you didn't find the person who did it? You don't know nothing? You know, you know, even Eminem tried to dabble with it for a minute. Eminem tried to expose some things within the music industry for a second. That got shut down. You know, look what's happening with Kanye West, the mental state that they have that dude in. Look at the mental state that they have Kanye in. I mean, oh man. Anywho, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys that. I will probably put this up on I'll probably put it up on Rumble. I don't know if I probably won't keep this up on YouTube, just to be honest with you guys, just because of the simple fact of it was another video and I kind of played most of it raw as it was. So Slick Rick the Ruler. I like Slick Rick, Sarah. Slick Rick the Ruler. So yeah, I'll probably put this up on Rumble, and I will put day 3 today of the Kyle Rittenhouse up on Rumble too, that my wife live streamed all day long. So I'll download that and then upload it to Rumble. Again, you guys, don't forget, tomorrow I'll be in Vegas for the big thing. I'll take you back to the original video that I played at the beginning of the show to show you guys what is taking place tomorrow in Las Vegas. I love this stuff. I love these big rallies when people truly come together by the thousands. So again, if you guys would like to help with the airfare, with lodging, with food for this trip that I am going to be live streaming and bringing to you guys starting at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Here it is right now, so you guys know exactly what I am doing and what I'm up to.
Hello, Patriot. You are not alone. The Las Vegas Strip, October 3rd. The sleeping giant is again awakened by people in his own home.
They are trying to convince you that you are divided. They are trying to convince you that we are separate. I don't see different races or genders out here. You know what I see? Free, loving Americans. Are you going to do what it takes? Will you fight? And let's have your freedom of choice.
They want us to live in isolation. They want us to live in fear, but tonight we say no. Now God commanded his people, do not fear. If that is a command, that means fear can be overcome by sheer will alone. And the fact that all of you are here today means that their weapon of fear has no influence over any of you. Now tonight, when this protest is over, when we go back home to our day-to-day, the fight still continues. Because this is a war of information, this is a war of ideals, this is a battle for the hearts and minds of this nation, and all of you are fighters. So when you go out to your day-to-day, remember, share your information, share your knowledge, share your conviction. Every heart you set free, every mind you open, every soul that realizes it is free, that makes our numbers greater, it makes our strength greater, and it puts them into hiding. This is how we turn the weapon of fear against them. This is how we make them fear us, and this is how we win. Now, this nation was founded as one nation under God. As long as you know that your rights, they come from God, not from man, not from bureaucrats, not from the global elites, but from God alone, that means you are free and they can never rule over you. So, do we say in God we trust? Do we say God bless America? So tonight, we are going to give glory to God. On the count of 3, we're going to look up to heaven. We're going to say glory to God. We're going to make the angels sing, and we will make the demons tremble. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Where there is the freedom of the Lord, there is liberty.
Tomorrow night. So that one happened on October 3rd. That happened on October 3rd, and so because that big event happened on October 3rd, the people who are hosting it, running it, decided to do this coming tomorrow night in Las Vegas. So I did speak to the guy who was throwing the event. They are expecting anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 people. Last time they walked the strip, like you guys saw. They also they walked through a lot of the casinos and the hotels down there. There was some altercations. So we'll see what tomorrow night holds. So I appreciate it. Anybody who donated to help me get down there, thank you very much. I'm going to work for like a half a day, get on the airplane, and shoot down there. So looking forward to it, and then I'll be back home early Saturday morning. So just an in and out thing. I think it's going to be well worth it. So because many people are saying they didn't know nothing about it. Many people are saying they had no clue about it. They didn't hear about it. Luckily I found out about it because I saw it on Instagram, and then someone told me about it. So yeah. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here. Again, be looking out for the Now. It's going to be starting very soon. Roku, Fire Stick, and it will be free. If you have that, it's not going to cost money. It will be free. So be looking out for that coming soon, very, very soon, within weeks. That's where we will be at. And we will still, probably individually have our own shows, but the Now with Will Johnson, Jay, and Doc Drake, we will be on Roku, Fire Stick, and, of course, CTA, Conservative Television of America. So be looking out for it, you guys. All right, I'll see you guys later. See you guys tomorrow evening live from Las Vegas. Again, for YouTube, I will be streaming it live on the Black Conservative Preacher YouTube page. All right. See you guys tomorrow night, as well as Facebook and Twitch. Later, you guys. God bless.